Ladies and gentlemen, I do it so you don't have to. Welcome to a thorough reaction from influencers on the M2 Pro announcement. The reaction starts with one of the biggest tech channel on YouTube, and that is YouTuber Marques Brownlee, otherwise known as MKBHD. It seems like all Marques Brownlee really did was to share the official reveal of the M2 Pro and the M2 Max. However, he also followed by a fun fact whereby if you were to plug in a 4-year-old $50,000 Mac Pro into Apple's trade-in site, you don't even get enough credit to buy an iPhone 14 Pro. So that is to say that Apple has really been pushing people to go for a trade-in to buy the M2 Pro. But the main question is why? Is it because Apple just want to get profit? Hey there, this is me from the future, and at the point and moment of editing the video, I received a comment asking me if they should sell their current M1 Pro and replace it with an M2 MacBook Pro that just came out recently. So, as I was asking, do Apple doing all of the trade-in, doing all the marketing, all of that to persuade you to spend your money? Well, the answer obviously is yes to a lot of us. However, it is also important to point out in the video that you should really consider your necessity before actually spending your money on a new version of tech, especially when the design features and almost everything about it is the same, but only the chips and smaller and minor differences occur in the newer tech. So to answer the question of the person who commented on my video, no, do not swap it in for the M2 Pro. You just bought an M1 Pro, I guess, for a cheap price. You should not exchange it for the M2 Pro. Just keep your M1 Pro and be happy with it. However, it is also important to notice that the M2 Pro is not a bad piece of tech that came out. It is absolutely incredible, but you need to be the right audience to have it. And the right audience can be a person with older technology, but obviously not someone with an M1 Pro. So with that, let us carry on with the M2 Pro influencers reaction. Okay? So that is to say that Apple has really been pushing people to go for a trade-in to buy the M2 Pro. Well, as we dig deeper into people's reaction on the M2 Pro overall, we can clearly see why Apple is really pushing people to buy the M2 Pro and to literally send everybody an email for an Apple trade-in with their older devices. So, what are those information that we're still missing? Let's take a look. For the first 24 hours on Twitter, a lot of the tweets are expectedly positive on the whole M2 Pro and M2 Max launch. Everybody is excited, everybody is happy with the Mac Mini price cut. Everybody, including Mark Gurman, Justine, with Aaron or Mr. Who's the Boss expressing his uncertainty whether to be surprised or not, with Max Tech already purchasing a lot of MacBook Pros. And when I said a lot, I meant a lot. He literally bought 10 of them. And overall, people on Twitter were excited about the M2 Pro launch, specifically on the M2 Pro in the Mac Mini. So, 24 hours after M2 Pro launch just on Twitter alone, I would rate the positivity and the reaction a total solid 8 out of 10 for the M2 Pro and the M2 Max launch. However, does that mean that you have to buy the M2 Pro or the M2 launch? Does that mean you have to make the decision on that? No. Today, we are not going to answer that question. We're going to gather all the opinions so you can make your own decision. And that was my rating on the entire Twitter reaction for M2 Pro and M2 Max. Let us go and watch the M2 Pro and the M2 Max reaction on YouTube and see what people are all about. In the first 24 hours of the M2 Pro and the M2 Max launch, I've watched different videos, from Apple Insider to Luke Maiani, to Greg's Gadget, to Mac Rumors, to the Everyday Dad, to Greg Gadget, and Max Tech, and many more. And what all of those videos have in common is that they address the one and only Mac Mini, and that the Mac Mini is a good device that will fit with your M2 Pro. Now, I've gone through all of those videos, and a lot of them were really about the M2 Pro inside the Mac Mini. They focus on the dramatic decrease of price for the Mac Mini to $599. Now that is 24 hours after launch. It means that the Mac Mini is really what gets the most interest out of people. Myself, who never used a Mac Mini ever or a Mac Studio ever included. So yeah. And a general consensus or agreement from a lot of the influencers talking about the launch was that the Mac Mini would seem like a better option than the M1 Max Studio. Now, whether that is true or not, I just share with all of you the community reaction to the price point and to the M2 Pro Mac Mini launch. The rest, whether you want to buy it or not, the decision is up to you. Leave it in the comment section down below. But the thing that is very interesting is the fact that there was little mentioning of the M2 Pro. Now, we can say that we already expect that, and that is true. If we go through all of the the videos that were talked about regarding the M2 Pro and the M2 Max topic, there wasn't really that much about the M2 Pro, and if there are any, it mostly relates to how you might not need an M2 Pro, or you should wait for the M3 Pro or the M3 family of chips. To summarize all of the video I've watched, it's very simple. If you have an M1 Pro, do not buy the M2 Pro or the M2 Max. If you have an M1 MacBook Pro and you are out of budget, the M1 Pro is more than enough for you. But if you have the budget and you can wait until the M2 Pro price drops so you can go and snatch it at a lower price. And there are also other videos that state that if you have an Intel family of chip for Macs and you can afford the M2 Pro, then you should probably get the M2 Pro because it is newer technology. So yeah, that is a general summary of what a lot of influencers and tech channels are saying to the M2 Pro and the M2 Max 24 hours after launch. Now whether you want to buy it or not, I suggest you go on channel like the Max Tech channel. He issued a buying guide for the M2 Pro, which is nice for a lot of people who want to get one. Or if you have the M1 Pro or you have the M1 MacBook Pro like me, you can probably sleep on the M2 Pro for now or wait for the price to drop a lot lower so you can snatch it later. Because remember, if you want to wait for the M3 Pro, that would be a year and a half away from launch, and that would really take a toll on your productivity. So either get yourself an M1 Pro or wait a bit and grab the M2 Pro for a lower price later on. So yeah guys, hopefully today's video are helpful to you in understanding the psychology of tech reviewers and their first reaction toward the M2 Pro and the M2 Max launch. Again, I find it really interesting that that is their initial reaction in the first 24 hours. So how about you guys? What are you most interested in from the M2 Pro and the M2 Max launch that we have earlier this weekend? Are you looking to buy one or are you going to sleep on it? And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and we will see you all in the next video. Peace.